The call came at 3:47 p.m. on a Tuesday. I remember because I was staring at my computer screen, wrapping up quarterly reports, when my phone lit up with a number I'd blocked 3 years ago. My name is Freya, and that call shattered the life I'd carefully rebuilt. "Please, please don't hang up," my mother's voice cracked through the speaker. "Your father, he's collapsed. We're at St. Mary's." She was sobbing, that theatrical, gasping kind of cry she'd perfected over the years. I gripped my desk, knuckles white. "Mom, I told you never to contact me again. He's dying, Freya. The doctors say without immediate surgery." Another sob. "We need help. Please, baby. I know we've hurt you, but he's still your father." My colleague Cecilia glanced over, concerned. I grabbed my purse and rushed to the bathroom, hands shaking as I pressed the phone to my ear. "What kind of surgery?" "It's his heart. They found a tear. Something about the aorta." "But the specialist who can do it is in Switzerland, and our insurance won't." She broke down again. I heard shuffling, then my sister Riley's voice. "Freya, God, I never thought I'd say this, but we need you. Dad needs you. The surgery costs $180,000, and they need it wire transferred today, or they'll lose the spot. That's everything I have." My voice sounded distant, even to myself. "He'll die without it. Is that what you want? To know you could have saved him but chose not to?" I called Jamie, my husband, from my office phone. He answered on the first ring. "Babe, what's wrong?" I explained everything, my voice trembling. "I know it sounds crazy, but what if he really is dying? I'd never forgive myself." Jamie was quiet for a moment. "It's your decision, but that account has both our names on it." "Are you sure about this?" "They sent the hospital documentation. It looks real." I stared at the PDFs on my phone. "I have to do this, Jamie. I have to know I tried." Within an hour, I was at the bank, authorizing the wire transfer to what my mother called the medical emergency account. The teller asked 3 times if I was sure. I wasn't, but I signed anyway. A week passed, no updates, no answers to my calls or texts. I left voicemails that grew increasingly desperate. Jamie held me each night as I cycled between worry and rage, between hoping I'd done the right thing and fearing I'd been played for a fool. Then came the second call. Unknown number. "Hello?" Laughter. High-pitched, familiar laughter that made my blood run cold. "Oh my God, I can't believe you fell for it." Riley's voice was thick with mockery. The perfect, successful Freya, still so desperate for Daddy's approval. "Guess what? He's fine. Better than fine. We're on our way to Europe. First-class tickets, thanks to you, loser." The phone slipped from my numb fingers, clattering on my desk. Cecilia rushed over, but I couldn't hear what she was saying. All I could hear was Riley's laughter, echoing in my head like a curse. My family, the people who were supposed to love me most, had just stolen my entire life savings. I picked up my phone with trembling hands and dialed Jamie. When he answered, I could barely form the words. "They lied," I whispered. "It was all a lie." "Come home," Jamie said, his voice steel-edged in a way I'd never heard before. "There's something you need to know about that account." I grabbed my keys, my mind spinning with possibilities. They'd taken everything I had, everything Jamie and I had built together. But something in my husband's voice made me think this story wasn't over. Not by a long shot. I burst through our front door to find Jamie at his desk, surrounded by monitors. His cybersecurity command center, as I jokingly called it, but he wasn't smiling now. "Show me," I demanded, still breathless from running up the stairs. "The moment they tried to access the account, I got this." He pointed to an alert on his screen. "Someone attempted to withdraw the full amount using documentation in your name, but the IP address was from a location 70 miles away." "What did you do?" "I reported the card stolen." Jamie's eyes met mine. Within an hour of the transfer. The account's frozen now. I collapsed into the chair beside him. Can we get it back? Better. He pulled up another screen. They used forged documents to access the account. That's not just theft, it's criminal fraud. I've already contacted the bank's fraud department and filed a police report. My phone buzzed. A text from Riley. Thanks for the cash, sis. Booking our hotels now. They don't know, I whispered, a strange calm settling over me. They think they've won. Jamie's fingers flew across the keyboard. The bank's tracking the money. Your father's phone just pinged near private air charter services at Wilson Regional. They're running. I stood up, grabbing my keys again. And we're going to stop them. Wait. Jamie caught my arm. There's more. Look at this. He pulled up a series of transactions from the past week. Multiple attempts to transfer smaller amounts, all declined. Each one from a different location, different IP addresses. They've been trying to drain the account piece by piece, he explained. But because I reported it stolen, every transaction gets flagged. They're leaving digital fingerprints everywhere. I leaned closer, scanning the locations. That's the coffee shop near Mom's house, and that's Bo King's law office. Your family's lawyer? Former lawyer. He helped them hide money during their divorce scare years ago. I straightened up. Jamie, we need to move fast. Call the airport security. Tell them to watch for 3 passengers trying to leave the country with fraudulent funds. He was already dialing. On it. But Freya? He paused. Are you sure you want to do this? They're still your family. No. My voice was ice. Family doesn't do this. Family doesn't spend years planning to steal everything you've worked for. They're just people who share my DNA, and they're about to learn what happens when you betray the wrong person. While Jamie coordinated with airport security, I called Cecilia. Remember those old files you helped me organize last year? I asked. The ones from when I first left home? The trust fund documents? Yeah, they're in the office archive. I need them, all of them, and I need you to help me dig deeper. Already on it, she said. And Freya? Make them pay. Jamie ended his call, a grim smile on his face. Airport security is on alert. They're watching for any suspicious transactions or travel documents. My phone buzzed again. Another text from Riley. First-class champagne hits different when it's free. I showed it to Jamie. They really think they've won. Should we head to the airport? I nodded, grabbing my jacket. But first, we're stopping at the bank. I want to be there in person when they try to use those tickets. As we drove, Jamie reached over and squeezed my hand. You know what's ironic? If they hadn't gotten greedy, if they'd just asked for help honestly, you probably would have given them something. That's the thing about manipulators, I said, watching the city blur past our windows. They always overplay their hand. They're so used to people rolling over that they forget some of us learn to bite back. My phone lit up with an incoming call. Airport security. I put it on speaker. Mrs. Wade, we've got them. 3 passengers matching your description just tried to check in using tickets purchased with flagged funds. They're being detained now. I ended the call and looked at Jamie. Ready to go show my family exactly who they messed with? He nodded, turning onto the highway. Let's give them a reunion they'll never forget. The airport security office smelled like stale coffee and desperation. Through the 2-way mirror, I watched my family squirm in their chairs. Mom dabbed at non-existent tears while Dad clutched his chest. The same performance that had fooled me a week ago. Your mother claims the money was a gift, Officer Torres said, flipping through his notes. But we've got evidence of forged documents used to access the account. It wasn't a gift. I handed him my phone. Here's the recorded call where they claimed my father needed emergency surgery. And here are the fake hospital documents they sent. Riley paced the small room, her designer heels clicking against the tile. This is ridiculous. We're going to miss our flight. You mean the flight's purchased with stolen money? Jamie stepped forward, laptop open. I've got the transaction records right here, including failed attempts to transfer funds through multiple channels. Dad suddenly dropped his sick act. Freya, sweetie, this is all a misunderstanding. We were going to pay you back. Like you paid back my college fund? The words burst out before I could stop them. Or the inheritance from Grandma that mysteriously disappeared. Mom's fake tears dried instantly. That money was meant for the whole family. The whole family, I laughed. You mean like when I was 16 and you emptied my savings account to pay for Riley's sweet 16 party? Or when you sold my car to fund Dad's business venture? Riley stormed to the mirror, somehow knowing exactly where I stood on the other side. You think you've won? You don't know what we're hiding. You'll be sorry when you find out about the other account. Officer Torres raised an eyebrow. What other account would that be, miss? Riley's face went pale. Behind her, Mom made a slashing motion across her throat. I mean, nothing. I didn't mean anything. Jamie was already typing. Got it. There's a transfer history linking to an offshore account. Looks like regular deposits going back years. We'll need that information, Officer Torres said, signaling to another officer, along with any other financial records you can provide. Through the glass, I watched my father slump in his chair, for real this time. Mom's carefully maintained facade cracked, showing the fury beneath. But Riley stared directly at the mirror, her face twisted with hatred. You were always so perfect, weren't you? She spat. Little Freya, working so hard, playing by the rules. You think this makes you better than us? At least we're honest about who we are. Honest? I hit the intercom button. Was it honest when you told me Dad was dying? When you watched me empty my savings to save his life? You owed us, Mom shrieked. After everything we did for you. Everything you did for me? My voice shook. You mean the therapy bills I'm still paying? The night I had to sleep in my car because you gave my room to Riley's friends? The Christmas you pawned my laptop for gambling money? Jamie touched my shoulder. They're not worth it. But I couldn't stop. Years of pain poured out. You know what the saddest part is? If you'd really needed help, I would have given it. But you couldn't stand that, could you? Couldn't stand that I made it without you. That I built something you couldn't tear down. Officers, Jamie interrupted, showing them his screen. I've got evidence of at least 3 more fraudulent accounts, all linked to recent transfer attempts. That's enough for multiple charges, Officer Torres said. We'll need statements from both of you. As we followed him to another room, Riley's voice echoed through the intercom. You'll regret this, Freya. When everything comes out, you'll wish you'd let us go. I turned back to the mirror one last time. No, Riley. The only thing I regret is not doing this years ago. In the hallway, Jamie pulled me close. You okay? I nodded, watching officers lead my family toward holding cells. They thought they could break me again. But they forgot something important. What's that? I'm not that scared little girl anymore. I squared my shoulders. And I'm just getting started. What do you mean? Riley mentioned another account. I pulled out my phone. Time to find out exactly what they've been hiding all these years. Cecilia spread the documents across my dining room table like a crime scene investigator. Bank statements, property records, and trust fund paperwork created a paper trail of betrayal stretching back a decade. Look at this, she said, pointing to a transaction from my senior year of high school. The day after your 18th birthday, your college fund was emptied and redirected through 3 different accounts. Jamie leaned over her shoulder. And each account was registered to a shell company. Shell companies registered by Bo King, I added, scanning an old email. The family lawyer who helped them hide everything during their fake divorce. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Your father's health is deteriorating in custody. Hope you're happy with yourself. Ignore it, Jamie said. Focus on this. The house sale from 5 years ago. I remembered that house. The only stable home I'd known. They'd sold it while I was away at college, claiming they needed money for medical bills. The proceeds never went to medical care, Cecilia said, pulling up more records. They were funneled into an account in Riley's name, then moved offshore a month later. Wait, Jamie pointed to a recurring pattern. Every major asset, every inheritance, every windfall, it all went through Riley's accounts first. They were building a safety net, but only for her. My hands shook as I dialed Beau's number. He answered on the third ring. Freya? This is unexpected. Beau, I need your help. I forced my voice to crack. My family's been arrested and I don't know what to do. Mom said you might have paperwork that could help explain everything. Ah. He paused. Well, I'm not really involved anymore, but please. I just want to understand. Maybe we can fix this, make it all go away? He sighed. Your parents were always creative with their finances. The house sale, for instance. Perfectly legal to put it in Riley's name. Tax purposes, you understand. Of course. I met Jamie's eyes as he recorded the call. And the trust fund from Grandma? That was trickier. Had to create some special arrangements to bypass the original beneficiary clauses. But again, all technically legal. And now, with this latest situation? Beau laughed nervously. I advised against it, you know. Told them direct theft was too risky. The long game was working fine. Within another year, they would have legally accessed everything through the hidden accounts anyway. My blood ran cold. What do you mean? The 10-year plan, converting all family assets and potential inheritances into offshore holdings under Riley's name. This emergency surgery scam was just meant to speed things up. Honestly, they got greedy. Thank you, Beau. You've been very helpful. After hanging up, I played the recording for Cecilia and Jamie. He just admitted to helping them systematically steal your inheritance, Cecilia said. This isn't just fraud anymore, it's criminal conspiracy. Jamie was already typing. I'm sending this to the police and the Bar Association. My phone buzzed again. Riley. Last chance, sis. Drop the charges or everything burns. I showed them the text. They still think they have leverage. They don't know we found everything, Cecilia said. No. I stood up, gathering the documents. And they don't know what's coming next. Jamie looked up from his laptop. What are you planning? They wanted to play the long game? I grabbed my keys. Let's show them how it's really done. First stop, the district attorney's office. And then, Cecilia asked, then we visit my family. I want to see their faces when they realize their perfect plan just destroyed everything they spent 10 years building. As we drove to the DA's office, I thought about Beau's words. The long game was working fine. They'd been stealing my future piece by piece, thinking I'd never notice, never fight back. But they made one crucial mistake. They thought I was still that helpless girl they could manipulate and control. Instead, they'd created something far more dangerous. A woman with nothing left to lose and everything to reclaim. And I was just getting warmed up. The motel room where they were staying after posting bail looked exactly like the kind of place they'd always mocked. Peeling wallpaper, buzzing fluorescent lights, and the faint smell of despair. Perfect. Well, well, Riley sneered as I walked in. Come to gloat? I set my laptop bag on the scratch table and took a seat. No emotion, no reaction. Just calm, collected presence. You look terrible, Freya, Mom said, adjusting her designer scarf, probably bought with my money. All this stress isn't good for your complexion. How's Dad's heart condition? I asked quietly. The emergency one that needed immediate surgery? Dad shifted uncomfortably on the bed. Actually, I do have a condition. Save it. I opened my laptop. I've got something to show you. More evidence for your little revenge plot? Riley crossed her arms. We already know you're trying to destroy us. No. I turned the screen toward them. This is what destruction really looks like. Their faces paled as they watched the local news clip. The headline read, "Local family accused of decade-long financial conspiracy." Below it, their mugshots. That's not the best part, I continued, clicking through tabs. Here's the Bar Association's investigation into Bo King. Here's the IRS audit notice for all those offshore accounts. And here, I pulled out a USB drive, is every recorded conversation, every fraudulent document, every single piece of evidence going back 10 years. Mom lunged for the drive. I pulled it back. Too late. Copies are already with the DA, FBI Financial Crimes Unit, and every major news outlet in the state. You're bluffing, Riley spat, but her voice trembled. Am I? I pulled up her employer's website. Interesting that your law firm has already removed your profile. Something about ethics violations and pending criminal investigation? Dad stood up, his fake illness forgotten. Freya, please. We can work something out. Like you worked out selling my childhood home or embezzling Grandma's trust fund. That money was meant for the family, Mom shrieked. Funny, the court documents show it was meant for me. I closed the laptop. But you already knew that, didn't you? Just like you knew about the life insurance policy, the investment accounts, everything you've been hiding in Riley's name. Riley's face went from pale to gray. How did you find it all? Turns out Bo King gets chatty when he thinks he's helping family reconcile. He recorded everything too. Smart man, covering his own back. We'll deny it, Mom said desperately. It's our word against bank records? Against Bo's testimony? Against your own recorded confessions? I stood up. Face it. You're finished. What do you want? Dad asked quietly. Want? I want back every dollar you stole. I want you to face every charge. I want Riley to lose her law license before she even gets it. I leaned forward. But mostly, I want you to live with the consequences of your actions, for once in your lives. You vindictive little... Riley started. Careful. I held up my phone. Still recording. I walked to the door, then turned back. Oh, and Mom? Those friends you've been calling for help? They've all seen the news. Funny how quickly social circles collapse when fraud and theft are involved. You'll regret this, she hissed. We're still your family. No. I met her eyes. You're just the people who taught me exactly what I never want to become. As I walked to my car, Jamie was waiting. How'd it go? Better than therapy. I handed him the USB drive. Ready for phase 2? He nodded. Cecilia found something interesting in the Portuguese bank records. Looks like Riley's been busy. Perfect. I started the car. Because I'm not done teaching them about consequences. You okay? He asked softly. I thought about the look on their faces when they realized they'd lost everything. The same look I'd had when they first betrayed me. I'm better than okay. I pulled onto the street. I'm just getting started. Behind us, the motel's neon sign flickered like a warning. But this time, I wasn't the one who needed to be afraid. The Reddit post exploded overnight. My family tried to steal my life savings, so I destroyed their lives instead. Within hours, it hit the front page, spawning news articles and social media storms. Look at these comments, Jamie said, scrolling through his phone. Finally, someone standing up to toxic family. This is what real karma looks like. My own phone hadn't stopped buzzing since morning. Reporters, talk show producers, podcast hosts, all wanting the full story. Cecilia burst into our living room, waving her tablet. "You need to see this. Riley's law firm just released a statement." I read it aloud. "In light of recent allegations and evidence of ethical violations, we have terminated our association with Riley effective immediately. Our firm maintains the highest standards of professional conduct." "That's not all." Cecilia swiped to another page. "Your mother's country club membership has been revoked. Apparently, fraud accusations aren't good for their image." My phone rang. A number I recognized from the DA's office. "Freya? We've got a problem. Riley's ankle monitor showed no movement for the past hour. Officers just checked her motel room. She's gone." I put the phone on speaker. "Gone where?" "We're working on that, but there's been activity on an account in Portugal. Transfers, hotel bookings." Jamie was already typing. "Got it. 3 transactions in Lisbon within the last hour. Hotel reservation, car service, and, interesting, a payment to someone named Bo." "Bo King?" I leaned closer to his screen. "He's helping her run?" "Not anymore," Cecilia said, hanging up from her own call. "That payment just triggered an international banking alert. Apparently, Bo's been under investigation for months. This was the final piece they needed." My phone buzzed with a text from Riley. "You think you're so smart? Watch me disappear with everything." "She doesn't know," Jamie said quietly. "About the Interpol alert. Or about the money laundering investigation," Cecilia added. "Should we tell her?" I thought about all the times Riley had taunted me, laughed at my pain, helped our parents steal my future piece by piece. "No," I replied, typing a response. "Run all you want. I'll be watching." Within hours, news broke. Local lawyer arrested in international financial crimes probe. Bo King's face plastered across every screen, followed by details of a years-long investigation into money laundering and fraud. "They found everything," Cecilia reported, reading the latest update. "The offshore accounts, the shell companies, even encrypted emails about your family's scheme." My phone rang again. This time, my mother. "What have you done?" she screamed. "Riley's being arrested in Portugal. Bo's office is raided. Your father's having actual heart problems now." "Funny how real consequences can affect your health," I replied calmly. "We're your family." "No, you're criminals who happen to share my DNA." And now everyone knows it. I hung up as Jamie called me over to his computer. "Look at this. Riley tried to access 3 different accounts in the past hour. Each attempt triggered another alert." "She's panicking," Cecilia observed. "Making mistakes." My phone lit up with a notification, a video call request from an international number. Riley's face appeared, distorted by poor connection and rage. "They're coming for me," she spat. "Police, Interpol, everyone." "Happy now?" "Actually, yes," I kept my voice level. "How does it feel, Riley? Being trapped? Watching everything fall apart?" "I hate you," she whispered. "I've always hated you." "I know, but here's the difference. I stopped caring what you think years ago." Behind her, I heard shouting in Portuguese. Her eyes widened in fear. "Wait," she said quickly. "I can tell you everything. About the accounts, about Bo's other clients, about—" The video cut off as officers burst into her room. Jamie closed his laptop. "It's over." "Not quite." I picked up my phone, opening the email from my lawyer. "We still have the civil suit. Every penny they stole, every opportunity they destroyed, they're going to pay it all back." "With interest," Cecilia added with a smile. I looked at the final line of the Reddit post I'd written. "The thing about karma? Sometimes it needs a little push." The comments section exploded with support, but I didn't need validation anymore. I had something better. Justice. The courtroom fell silent as Riley was led in, her designer clothes replaced by an orange jumpsuit. 2 weeks in Portuguese custody had stripped away her carefully maintained facade. She wouldn't look at me. "All rise," the bailiff called. The judge shuffled through documents. "We're here for sentencing in the matter of multiple counts of fraud, money laundering, and conspiracy." My mother sat in the back, alone. Dad was in the hospital, for real this time, stress and karma finally catching up to his heart. Bo King had already taken a plea deal, turning over evidence that implicated dozens of other clients. "Before we proceed," the judge continued, "does the defendant wish to make a statement?" Riley stood, chains rattling. "Your Honor, I was manipulated by my parents and Bo King. I never meant—" "That's a lie." I couldn't help myself, standing up. "Show her the emails, Your Honor." "The ones where she planned everything." The judge nodded to the prosecutor, who projected emails onto the courtroom screen. "From Riley, dated 3 years ago." The prosecutor read, "Once we get control of Freya's accounts, we can finally live the way we deserve. She's too stupid to notice anyway." Riley's face crumpled. I. Another email," the prosecutor continued. "The surgery scam is perfect. She's always been desperate for Dad's approval. She'll give us everything." "Ms. Riley," the judge interrupted, "these emails show premeditation spanning years. Your claim of manipulation rings rather hollow." My phone buzzed. A text from Jamie. "Bo just finished his testimony. They're raiding his offshore accounts now." The judge cleared his throat. "Given the evidence and the international nature of these crimes, I'm sentencing you to 8 years in federal prison, plus restitution of all stolen funds." Riley collapsed into her chair. From the back, my mother wailed theatrically. "Furthermore," the judge continued, "you are barred from ever practicing law or holding any financial position of trust." As they led Riley away, she finally looked at me. "I hope you're happy," she spat. "You've ruined everything." "No," I replied calmly. "You did that yourself." Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed. "Freya! How does it feel to see justice served? Any comment on your sister's sentence? What about your parents' upcoming trial?" I faced the cameras. "This isn't about revenge. It's about consequences. My family spent years stealing not just money, but trust, opportunities, and peace of mind. Today, the system worked." My phone rang. The hospital. "Ms. Wade, your father's asking for you. He says it's urgent." 20 minutes later, I stood by Dad's hospital bed. He looked small, defeated. "Freya," he wheezed, "please, your mother, they're taking her to trial next week. We can still fix this." "Fix what? The theft? The fraud? The years of manipulation? We're family. Stop." I held up my hand. "You want to know something interesting? While you were all plotting to steal my money, I was building something real. A career, a marriage, a life without lies. But the nurses said you wanted to tell me something urgent." I cut him off. "Was this it?" "Another manipulation?" He deflated. "The doctors, they say I need surgery. Real surgery this time. Karma's funny that way." I turned to leave. "Wait, please. I'm sorry." I paused at the door. "No, you're not. You're sorry you got caught." Back home, Jamie and Cecilia were waiting with takeout and wine. "Riley's being transferred tomorrow," Jamie reported. "And Bo's testimony implicated your mom in everything. The DA says it's a slam dunk." "What about the money?" I asked. Cecilia grinned. "Already traced. Between the offshore accounts and asset seizures, you'll get back everything they stole. Plus, damages." My phone lit up. A call from the prison. "Hello, sister dear." Riley's voice dripped poison. "Guess who's running my life now?" "You ran my life for years," I replied. "How does it feel being on the other side?" "I'll get out eventually." "Yes, you will. In 8 years. To a world where everyone knows exactly who you are." I smiled. Sweet dreams, Riley. I hung up and raised my wine glass. To karma. To justice, Jamie added. To finally being free, I finished. Outside, the sun was setting on one chapter of my life, but unlike my family, I was walking toward the light, not hiding in shadows. The Portuguese coastline stretched before us, waves crashing against ancient rocks. Jamie squeezed my hand as we stood on our hotel balcony in Lisbon. Ironic, isn't it? He said. Being here where Riley tried to run. Different hotel, though, I smiled. Much nicer than the one where they arrested her. My phone buzzed, a news alert about my mother's sentencing. 5 years, plus restitution. Dad had taken a plea deal from his hospital bed. 3 years house arrest, given his health. Want to read it? Jamie asked. No. I deleted the alert. I'm done giving them space in my head. Inside our suite, I opened my laptop to find dozens of new messages. Women sharing similar stories of family betrayal, asking how I found the strength to fight back. You should write a book, Cecilia said over video chat. People need to hear this story. Maybe. I looked at the last family photo on my phone, taken years ago before I knew what they really were. But first I need to do something. Jamie watched as I pulled up the photo. You sure? Delete, I whispered, pressing the button. They're not my story anymore. My phone rang, a collect call from prison. Riley again. Enjoying my vacation spot? She sneered. I had that same view from my cell. Goodbye, Riley. I hung up and blocked the number. Jamie wrapped his arms around me. You okay? Better than okay. I walked to the balcony. For the first time, I'm exactly where I want to be. Ms. Wade? A hotel staff member appeared. Your dinner reservation is ready. The coastal view table you requested. We followed him to a cliffside restaurant, the same one where Riley had made her last desperate reservations before being caught. To new memories. Jamie raised his glass. To choosing our own family. I clinked mine against his. My phone lit up with a text from Cecilia. Your Reddit post just hit 1 million upvotes. People are calling you their hero. I'm not a hero, I typed back. I just finally learned my own worth. The sunset painted the ocean gold, nothing like the darkness my family had tried to trap me in. A nearby couple was celebrating something, their joy infectious. Dance with me? Jamie stood, holding out his hand. As we swayed to the distant music, I thought about karma. Not the vengeful kind my family had faced, but the quiet justice of building something beautiful from their destruction. Look, Jamie pointed to a shooting star streaking across the darkening sky. Make a wish? He suggested. Don't need to. I rested my head on his shoulder. I've got everything I need right here. My phone buzzed one last time, an email from my lawyer. Final restitution payments processed. All accounts recovered. Case closed. I deleted it without reading further. You don't want to know the details? Jamie asked. I know everything I need to know. I took his hand. They tried to steal my future. Instead, they gave me the strength to build a better one. Back in our room, I opened my laptop to answer one last message from a woman fighting her own family battles. How do you move on? She'd asked. How do you stop the pain? I thought carefully before responding. You don't stop the pain, you use it. Let it teach you what love isn't, so you can recognize what love is. Let it show you who to trust, who to keep, who to let go. Most importantly, let it remind you that your worth isn't determined by those who couldn't see it. The thing about betrayal? You feel it in your bones. But revenge? You feel that in your soul. And healing? That's the moment you realize you don't need either anymore. I closed the laptop and joined Jamie on the balcony. Below us, the waves kept their ancient rhythm, washing away old footprints, making space for new ones. Ready for dinner? He asked. ready for everything, I replied. Because that's the thing about endings. The best ones aren't about what you lose, but what you choose to keep. And I'd chosen well.